this Twinkie represents the normal amount of psychokinetic energy in the New York area. According to this morning sample, it would be a Twinkie 35 feet long and weighing approximately 600 pounds. Whew, that's a big Twinkie. Welcome to the Pixel Pop Movie Podcast. I'm your host this fortnight, Toby. With me this fortnight, I'm joined by the Walks Through Walls and Slimes people, Lucas.
Yeah, I am.
And the probably a little bit scared of freaky librarians, Jacqui.
Hello!
This topic of conversation for this fortnight isn't actually Ghostbusters. It's our top 3 films and top 3 TV shows of 2019. Bearing in mind there's a few films that we haven't seen yet, haven't released yet, but we're not entirely sure we're going to squeeze in another episode of the podcast before the end of the year. So we thought we'd best lay down our thoughts now anyway and share them with you. But before we get into any of that, we've got a whole bunch of news and trailers to get through. And normally I'd hand that over to Ethan, but he's not available this week, so I'm just going to have to jump into it myself. First up, Lucas, you've informed us that David Fincher is looking to make a Chinatown prequel for Netflix.
Yeah, so this is going to be really interesting. I'll be honest, I haven't seen Chinatown. I know it's like a classic. It's one of these movies that it's on a list a mile long of movies that I've been told that are excellent that I'll never get around to watching.
Yeah, I'm sure Ethan hasn't seen it.
I'm sure
You should watch it. It's quite a good film.
There's no doubt that Ethan has definitely not watched it. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, I'll watch anything David Fincher touches. I think he's got the magic touch. There's a few directors that like religiously I'll go and watch, and he's one of them. So
yeah, well, Roman Polanski made the original.
He did, the naughty little scamp.
Yes, who's now living permanently over in Europe and won't come back to America, but yes.
Yeah, he'll never come back.
No, he won't. Yeah, okay, well this would be interesting. I mean, I'm wondering if they'll sort of pick up the same... I mean, you would think they're going to pick up Jack Nicholson's character if it's a prequel, so this could be interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess... I know kind of the bare bones of it, but I would imagine that it would be Jack Nicholson's character from the first movie, kind of how he becomes... Because isn't he like a grizzled detective or something?
Yes, it's very noir. Itself? Yeah, it's very noir.
Yeah, so I have a feeling this will kind of be his, like, essentially his origin story.
Yes.
Into him becoming that. I think they're out of, like... I mean, you could probably put a million different movies in before Chinatown and think this would make a good prequel.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm sure Netflix has a big plan on the wall, and they sort of look at their audiences and then fill the gaps. You know, they can see the big picture that we perhaps can't. So
the other side of that too, as well, is that there's been so much hype. Obviously, we're now post-release, but there's been so much hype for The Irishman that they're now maybe looking into getting into more stuff like that. So, you know, they've kind of done the nostalgia trip with stuff like Stranger Things and Lost in Space as well. Like Lost in Space was...
I think they're prepared to take risks.
It was new but old, but like I feel like moving more into that gangstery type stuff. Like the noir stuff.
That genre.
Like, I feel like that could definitely be something.
I think Dark Crystal was definitely a big risk for them. So they're not afraid to take risks and sort of resuscitate older IPs.
I think I don't actually know if Dark Crystal was that big of a risk. Like it could have been in the sense that like
with the fan base it can be.
Yeah, like that's the only way I could have seen it failing, like as if it had been bad and the fan base had have rejected it.
Because a lot of people still didn't know what the fuck a Dark Crystal was, you know what I mean? Because it had been so long. So
yeah,
it is a cult classic, but I would still consider it a reasonably niche cult classic because of its sort of fantasy origins, plus because fantasy always got really shoved to one side. Anyway, that's a detour and a half. But yes, Netflix still doing some interesting stuff, and good on them, I guess. Star Trek 4 is apparently back on, and this time from the maker of Legion and Fargo, which is fine by me. So Noah Hawley, who recently made FX's Legion and Fargo. I don't know if you've watched that TV series. It's not bad. Is in final talks.
I was about to say Fargo's been one I've actually been told to check out. I've been told that
I've watched the first season and it's excellent.
Yeah, it's anthology, right? So like every season,
it continues. It does. No, it continues. It does. Yeah. So I mean, I can only speak that I watched season 1 and we started season 2, and it was kind of like a new villain, without doing too much spoilers. But it was the primary cast was kind of the same.
Okay, cool.
I don't know beyond that, but yeah. So it was a great show. So anyway, he's apparently in final talks to write and direct the new Star Trek film for Paramount. So that's cool. Let's see. Star Wars movie announcement in January. What do we got there?
Yeah, it's the announcement from what I saw. So basically, it was like the announcement for an announcement. So
Right.
I feel like it's super vague on what it actually is. Apart from the fact that kind of once we have Rise of Skywalker, which will be next week, we'll kind of have time to digest whatever happens in that film, and then anywhere between maybe 2 to 6 weeks later, we'll have something regarding the future. But whether that's the Ryan Johnson trilogy, whether it's the maybe the cancel what we assumed to be cancelled Knights of the Old Republic story that was meant to be done by the guys from Game of Thrones. There's also another one that's in the works, but I can't think. There was another director that they kind of had pinned down.
All right. But either way, we're gonna find out what's happening next in January.
Yeah, and from what I understand too, it's also like they're now starting to move away from Skywalker, like that partner of the universe is now.
Finally.
Yeah, and I mean the success of The Mandalorian as well has kind of shown that they can tell, and as well Rogue One and Solo wasn't crazy successful when it comes to box office, but I thought I was actually a lot better than I expected it to be.
Look, it wasn't terrible, but I think Rogue One still, blew everyone out of the water, and I think there was then that expectation that Solo would do the same, and it didn't. So I think that's where it really also fell quite flat, was that it was a follow-on Solo story, pun intended, from Rogue One that kind of blew everyone away because it was so, I guess, new and different.
I see what you did there.
I know, right?
So here's some bullshit. There's rumors, possibly, maybe, could be, that they're looking at bringing back Paul Walker for Fast and Furious 9.
No, just leave it alone. Don't touch it.
I was about to say, leave it alone.
Yes, apparently the fans have been very vocal in demonstrating their disapproval, and good on them. We've had this discussion a few times, so we won't repeat it, but bad form.
Yeah, we definitely had that conversation quite a number of episodes back about doing this type of thing, and
yeah, I mean, you want to sort of
with the James Dean thing,
yeah.
Also that James Dean announcement, and now this, like, it sounds like it's slowly starting to happen. We, not to brag, but we kind of predicted it was going to happen. And,
we did.
We're starting to see it a little earlier than I think we wanted to.
Yeah,
and not only that too, like Paul Walker's death was really tragic. So kind of to even think that they would do something like this, I think has, rightfully so, rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
And especially because the way they wrote him out of the story, I think was actually done quite well. Like, they decided not to go with obviously killing his character off, and they gave him a good ending. And I think if they were to bring that back, that just ruins the purpose of what they.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it completely undoes it. And like Jacqui said, he kind of got the happy ending, even though obviously Paul didn't. But the character definitely, who was also heavily beloved, kind of got to ride off into the sunset. So,
yeah, exactly. I think you can mention the character off screen in so much you can say, oh, he did this, or they had another kid, but you don't need to put him on the screen.
It's kind of hard not to as well, because like obviously Dom's sister in the story is married to him and all that, and Dom has the godparents to their kids and stuff. Like, it's kind of it would be hard to avoid mentioning them. Yeah, but I mean, 30, 40 years ago, you'd work around it, so. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Filmmaker Matt Reeves has revealed that John Turturro will be cast as the crime boss Carmine Falcone in The Batman. Interesting cast.
This is so awesome. This movie is coming together way better than I expected it to. Like, you get the first announcement that's Robert Pattinson. You're like, yeah, okay.
The photos of him look really good, though.
Pattinson?
Yeah, the photos of him, they actually look pretty good. Like, I think a lot of people were worried about the look for him as well, but I think based on what I've seen in terms of photos, I don't think he's a terrible actor, and it's going to bring something new, and that's what they need. They need a fresh slate with that, because of all of the, the shit that's gone around with everything lately, and the last few Batman films were terrible, and it's just, they need a clean slate. And I think in terms of casting for the film, from everything I've seen, it's unusual, but I don't think it's unusual in a bad way.
Oh, I'm pretty much for this movie. Like, I'm a massive Matt Reeves fan. Again, like he's awesome. He's done some really good stuff. Planet of the Apes is obviously the one a lot of people will know him for. He did the first Cloverfield movie. You know, he's got a pretty good little collection of films behind him. So, seeing him take on Batman and also then kind of assembling this cast that he has assembled, and then kind of piecing it all together and putting the jigsaw together is going to be it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
As I always say, don't talk shit about a movie till it comes out, because you never know if it's going to be good.
Well, Ben Affleck did well despite people dissing him, and you know, you can go back and look at any number of people. I mean, George Clooney, and the original sort of Batman movie cast. You could say that was questionable, but
I think
they turned out alright.
I liked Affleck. I really did. Like, I liked him. But the films that he was in, it's not just an actor that makes or breaks a film. It's so many other things. And unfortunately, they put a good actor in a role that he played well in a really badly done film.
I like Batman v Superman. I thought it was good.
I hated it.
Yeah, have you watched the extended cut? It's the director's cut.
The 3-hour cut
it's much better.
The 3-hour cut fleshes out a lot of the story, and like that's the story that Zack Snyder wanted to tell.
Yeah, it's the Snyder cut.
You know, speaking of Snyder cut, we'll get into that later.
Speaking of Planet of the Apes, Disney is apparently planning to do a reboot.
No.
There's been an update to this, or are you just furiously saying no? Because I thought you were cautiously optimistic about this, Lucas.
So I've had so in between the announcement of this and and as I sit before you, I've had a massive change of heart. Initially, I was like, this could be interesting, but I just thought about it and I'm like, the last one came out 2 years ago. Give it time to be its thing. Like the last movie was really good. The last movie was super interesting because of the way it ended. And I thought that, like, okay, that's the perfect ending to that story. It was always meant to be a trilogy. There was not meant to be a fourth film. Like, that was how they were going to end it. And I was happy with it. And now they're like, you know, the movie has, like, again, the movie's maybe 2 years old. Now they're like, all right, time for a reboot. I'm saying, no, make something new. Like, don't reboot everything. Just give us new shit. They need to talk to someone that's creative, that can make good content, instead of just kind of rehashing everything over and over. It's getting to the point where the reboots and the remakes are getting way too much.
Yeah. Well, speaking of something, I'll go.
We all know that, like, there are so many books that you can adapt into TV shows and movies, and people go see them. I don't get why they don't do more of that. Just go to a book.
Speaking of a particularly good story, although I must admit I never read a lot of the comic books, Netflix have released or revealed that they will be releasing Lock and Key to their streaming service February 7th, 2020. If you're not familiar with the comic books, the blurb is, the spiel is, after their father is murdered under mysterious circumstances, the three Locke siblings and their mother move into their ancestral home of Key House, which they discover is full of magical keys that may be connected to their father's death. As the Locke children explore the different keys and their unique powers, a mysterious demon awakens and will stop at nothing to steal them.
So is this, I'm just out of curiosity, because I actually know nothing about this. I've never even heard of the comic until this announcement came out.
Okay.
Is this like a kid's, like, is this aimed at kids, or is this meant to be like more an adult thing?
From memory, and unfortunately it's only from memory, the comic came out about 13 years ago. I remember stocking it on my shelves, and all I can tell you is from my memory is I put them on a higher shelf. So they must have been, because I'm pretty sure they have they're classified as horror, and I do recall they had a slight Lovecraftian kind of influence, but
okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said, maybe teens?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking, like, is this going to be like Lemony Snicket, or is this going to be like It? Like, you know what I mean? Like, in that kind of realm of extreme.
I mean, of course, it depends on how Netflix wants to play it, and I honestly don't remember how graphic the comic books were, but they were definitely not children's comic books, so I wouldn't think Harry Potter. It would definitely be something a bit more darker than that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
but anyway, that's cool.
Concept sounds cool. I might have to do a bit more research and get some comic books, but Yeah. Sounds cool.
And more Netflix news. Christmas Chronicles 2 has been confirmed by Netflix. If you recall, that's the original, the Kurt Russell film from last year, which I thought was really good. And coming in with his wife.
I was about to say, are you going to say that we're getting more Kurt Russell Santa?
I believe we are.
I am for it.
Yeah, right. I mean, I a few people, myself included, I was probably a little bit dubious, but then when I went in and watched it, it was fantastic. Did you catch this one, Jacqui, at all?
No, but I'm notoriously terrible for watching anything on Netflix. So unless it's trash.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's a good Christmas flick, so it's and Kurt's got some great lines.
I'll add it to the list for this year.
Yeah.
Conveniently at the time for Christmas too, just in time to watch it.
And before we crack into trailers, a little bit of sad news, and I don't think I'm going to pronounce his name properly, but René Auberjonois, actor who starred in MASH, Star Trek, and Benson, has died aged 79. I got that right.
This is really sad. He was awesome. Like, I remember him from Deep Space Nine. That's the first time I ever really saw him. I don't even remember him in MASH. Or was he in the...
No, he was in this. I'm pretty sure he was in the series. Oh, actually, no. He was. I think he was the film MASH. I think he was in the series.
I've only seen the movie maybe once or twice, but MASH I used to watch like religiously as a kid.
Yeah, he was in Benson, Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, and in the 1970 film MASH.
Yeah, right. He was also in Boston Legal too, which he was amazing in that with James Spader and William Shatner.
Yeah, I think I remember him from Benson the most.
Benson's not one that triggers my mind.
It was sort of during the 80s, and it wasn't great, but you kind of watched it if you lived through the 80s, I guess. So, you know. Okay, boomer, right?
Yeah, okay, boomer.
I think I'm a little out of my age range with this right now.
All right, so let's jump on over to some trailers. I'm not going to pussyfoot around. Let's just slam straight into Black Widow. Bam! Black Widow.
Yay! I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I was really, really tentative with this film. So seeing the trailer come out, and it's such an epic trailer, I'm actually really excited for the movie now.
Have you started planning cosplay already?
I think Black Widow is one of the few Marvel characters I probably will never touch. Just because I find there are so many amazing cosplayers out there, but there are so many amazing cosplayers out there that I'm like, well, I'll stick to my Winter Soldier, especially with the TV show coming out next year. I think I'll stick to my roots for now.
Fair enough. So, what are your thoughts on this trailer, Lucas?
Very good. Give me more.
Yeah. I know a lot of people were concerned, that you're going to have a Marvel film, probably one of the first that doesn't feature a super, quote unquote, but
Oh, there's supers in it.
Oh, there is. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just not going to spoil it for those that want to be surprised, but...
Yeah, there was a few things in that trailer I went, oh, I bet that's that person, and oh, I think that's that, so, but
Yeah. My biggest problem... I did have one problem with the trailer, and I thought I would like it more from the set photos that I saw. I really don't like the look of Taskmaster.
Yeah?
He looks like Zed from Power Rangers in a really bad cosplay. And like, if you know, you know. Like,
oh well.
I will never unsee that now. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm glad I ruined it. But no, like I don't know. Just the look at his mask and just his kind of outfit. Like he even has this. It's almost like he's wearing the same material as what Zed did, except it's just not red. It's like black and orange. I thought I'd like it more, but I really don't.
No.
In saying that, though, something that I was genuinely surprised with in the trailer was the white suit. And the white suit looks amazing.
Yeah, it's exactly what you want, especially because it is such a classic design of hers with that white suit. Like, everyone knows it if you've read the comics.
Yeah, if you know the books, you know that suit.
Yeah, and I think they've modeled it really well by making it exactly the same as one of her other ones in white, because she has so many amazing costumes. I just wish they weren't cat suits all the time.
It doesn't stop Lucas.
Yeah, I know. I just want to dress up like her all the time.
I need photos of this.
No one needs photos of that.
Oh, trust me. I've been on the convention scene for over 3 years. I have seen it all.
I don't doubt it.
Lucas is getting ready for his big Thor,
Fat Thor.
Fat Thor debut.
What are you doing that one?
Oh no, that's a joke. I'll have to show you later.
Yeah.
Basically, a couple of years ago, I got like a Thor bodysuit from like Age of Ultron, but I got the biggest one I could because I'm not a tiny dude, and I had the hashtag Fat Thor. This is like 2015. And then all of a sudden, like, my Instagram starts blowing up with like all these.
As soon as
like,
Endgame
photos.
came out, everyone was just like, "Oh my god, Lucas!"
2 days after Endgame, my Instagram blows.
the original.
The prophecy is true.
I'm the OG Fat Thor.
Yeah, you can finally cosplay Thor.
Yeah, that's it. That's right.
Dear. You cosplayed
yeah.
a perfectly good Thor before then. You don't let
Thank you.
anybody shoot you down. All right.
Thank
So
you.
moving on, you're welcome. We had a trailer for The Boys Season 2. I needed Kleenex after that. It was
I'm
good.
so excited.
Excuse me, you skipped one. You
No,
skipped the most important trailer.
I'm moving around. I'm moving around.
Oh, okay. I want to talk about it.
We'll get there. We're getting there. But yeah, Boys Season 2 looks great.
15 seconds, but I'm all in, man. Like
Yeah.
season one, like the books are amazing, and season one was way better than I thought it could be. Obviously, we had discussions on this podcast previously about, will they get away with the things that they want to get away
Yeah.
with?
They did.
It's such a nice breath of fresh air in the superhero genre.
It was, yeah.
For sure. Like, and I think as well, not only the success of The Boys and Joker, and a lot of people clamoring for like Venom to be R-rated, even though like at the last minute they turned to PG. I think now this is kind of the catalyst that we're going to see darker, more mature stories in comic book, and not in comic book, sorry, in superheroes. It's not in here, and I know it's just a rumor, but there was a rumor going around that Venom 2, because obviously they're doing Venom and Carnage, that's already a dark storyline. It sounds like they could be going R with that. So
Yeah,
I'm really hoping that this is the catalyst now for getting these really dark, twisted stories out there, because there's some real rank superhero stories that just need to be told on screen, because I will pay all the money that I have to go and see them.
All right, so we had our first decent look at No Time to Die, the next James Bond installment.
Hype. I'm glad you got there.
It's been a while since we had a James Bond.
4 years, bro.
Yeah.
2015. 2015 was Spectre. So, was it 2015?
It might have even been longer, but it's been a while.
I was living in Perth at the time, so it's 2014 or 2015.
Yeah, I think it was 20. Yeah, because Skyfall was 2012. So yeah, this was definitely 2015. Yeah, I think this is the longest break between Bond films we've had too. But obviously that comes with Daniel Craig getting injured because he wants to be a little stunt boy.
Yeah.
But
this would probably be his last one, I would suspect, wouldn't it?
It definitely is. This is his last one. They've confirmed it. So he's going out with a bang. This movie looks like it's going to be awesome. I thought that they did this trailer really well, because they've kind of give you this whole thing of like, Bond's over it. He doesn't want to do it anymore. He's getting dragged back in. He's just done. And then you get the threat. And I thought Rami Malek, whoever he is playing, I genuinely wonder if he's playing a classic villain that's going to be reinterpreted for 21st century, or if he's going to be someone completely new. But if he is someone going to be if he's going to be someone that is completely new, I'm already on board with it. The mask that he's wearing looks cool. He just looks cool. Everything he does looks cool. So this has me really excited, and I cannot wait.
Well, we had a trailer for Mulan, Disney's live-action reincarnation of their animated film, which is in turn based on an older story. I watched that. I mean, I have seen the original cartoon. I mean, it wasn't one of my favorites, although I thought Eddie Murphy's part was a bit of a hoot. It was Eddie Murphy as the dragon, wasn't it?
Yeah, Eddie Murphy was the dragon, yeah.
Yeah, this obviously looks like a more serious and a more sort of, not historical in that it's accurate, but you know what I mean? It's more period.
It looks more authentic.
Yes.
Which is, I think, an interesting turn for Disney in terms of them doing their live-action films, because it will be the first of its kind, and I'm interested to see how it does and how it comes together, because I didn't like the original cartoon, but I'm interested to see if I will enjoy this one, because it is live action.
Yeah, I it'll be a home release for me. only because, probably because the original cartoon just wasn't a huge thing for me. So the movie's kind of, I suppose this is the pathway to a Lilo and Stitch remake, though, and we're all dreading that. Oh, they'll do it. They've already said they'll do it.
I'm keen for them to do a Lilo and Stitch live action, because that would be really cool. Like, that has a genuinely
and no one ever heard from
story.
Lucas ever again.
Dude, I'm for it.
No.
I think honestly Disney's going to get to the point where they start doing live action stuff for Pixar films. No doubt in 20 years' time we're going to see a live action Toy Story. No, I have no doubt.
Leave it alone.
I know, but this is the way film's going, man. Like, it's all it's all reboots, it's all remakes. There's nothing really original. I think in this entire list that we have of movies that have trailers coming out, I think one of them is an original film, which is insane.
Which is Free Guy.
Correct, which is the next one we're going to talk about, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, Taika Waititi. It's basically the story of an NPC character in a video game who gets fed up and takes over.
Yeah.
Takes control.
I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, so if you've played a Grand Theft Auto game or one of those things and think about the generic pedestrian walking down the street who gets hit by cars and punched and mugged and all the rest, he finally sort of becomes self-aware and just loses the plot.
You know when you're doing that mission in Grand Theft Auto where you rob the bank? Yeah, the bank teller fights back.
Yeah.
Literally, the bank teller fights back. No, this looks awesome. Like,
it's going to be funny.
I was kind of wondering how they were going to do it, because obviously the whole movie would be set in a video game. And I was wondering, like, how they would do the film. Seeing that, like, Taika Waititi is actually going to be, like, the creator of the video game, and he's trying to figure out, like, what's going on and why the game is glitching. To me, that's a really interesting angle as well, because you're kind of getting two perspectives on the same story. But then also Steve Harrington from Stranger Things, Forever in Our Hearts. He's also going to be in it, and I couldn't pick who the girl was who, like, helps him through the game. So, like, Ryan Reynolds' character. I can't think of her name. But, like, all the cast, like, the way that they've casted this is super interesting, and but the story is also really interesting, so I'm kind of hyped to see how they do it.
Yeah, it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. Do we have? It's next year, isn't it? 2020. Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, March, I think.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Looking forward to it. We had our first serious look at Wonder Woman 1984, which has already spawned a meme spreading wildly across the internet faster than the fires of New South Wales.
Wait, what's the meme?
That's what I'm wondering too.
It's just a trash can. If you hit the comments, it's just 1,000 comments of people doing different. That's just a trash can memes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, great trailer. I know a lot of us were concerned about the setting and bringing back the love interest, which isn't really explained in this trailer.
Which I'm happy about, because I want to wait.
I think any doubts you had about this film, were pretty much dismissed as soon as you start seeing her swinging across the sky by lightning bolts. It's just so badass. Cool. It was just so badass.
I'm not gonna lie.
I love Wonder Woman. I'm so excited for this movie. I don't care if it's the worst movie in the world. I will enjoy it because it is Wonder Woman.
Can I just quickly poke fun at the Zoomers too? There's so many of them in the YouTube comments who don't know what the song is to the background of the trailer.
Blue Monday.
Yeah, they have no idea what it is. What's the song?
Yeah.
Okay, Boomer.
Use Spotify, you muppet. Jesus Christ. Not Spotify, it's Shazam.
Yeah, Shazam.
I don't think they know how to use Shazam. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah. Looks great.
I actually got a theory about Steve Trevor, but I'm not going to go into it because I feel like if they're going to do Steve Trevor the way I think they're going to do Steve Trevor,
all in her head.
I'm not going to say.
Yeah, all in her head.
But I'm just going to say if you know the characters and you know who's involved in the story, and there's one particular shot that I think gave it away.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you later if you want, but there's one particular shot in the trailer that I feel like if they hadn't have included that one shot, I'd be as in the dark as everyone else. But I think that I figured it out.
I feel this is probably going to be better than the original too, in terms of just quality of the film, but also in terms of box office earnings. I feel this is probably going to surpass the original in both.
Yeah, I think...
Because we can move past origin story and just get on to having a good story, and people kind of know what they get buying into this time, so I think you're going to do better at the box office.
I think her origin story film was pretty good.
I'm not saying it wasn't, but I'm just saying you don't have to do it now. Like, it's you know, it's the trouble with Spider-Man is we had to keep doing the origin story, and that was one thing that Marvel said, look, you know, we've seen it a billion times, let's just get into the story. And that's always been the thing, and now we can just get into the story because we know where she comes from and who she is.
Yeah, but I think outside of people who watched like the old Linda Carter series, like not many people would have known her origin story purely because she's a character that I don't think had ever appeared on film before until Batman vs Superman, right?
Like, well, she's done lots of cartoons. There's lots of animated stuff.
Like, the animated like DC.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything that had been to cinema that had
not in cinema.
Before,
no,
so.
Just the 1980s TV series.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like if you tried to do a Thor movie without explaining why he's a Norse god and how he has all these powers.
Yeah.
Kind of would have been the same thing, so.
Alright, and lastly, one trailer that really sort of left me scratching my head a little bit. Yeah, not what I expected at all was the Ghostbusters Afterlife official trailer dropped, and I watched this with my family, and we all sort of watched it and went, okay, so it's not a comedy?
Oh, yeah, okay.
In that,
I
it's
can
just
see it.
Like it's
treated very seriously. Like,
it is. I'm sure there's going to be. I mean, you look at the cast; it can't not be a comedy in some regards. I kind of get the suspicion that, you know, in most comedy movies you have the comedic and then the straight man. You know what I mean? The person that doesn't do the laughs, the person that's funny because they don't laugh. You know what I mean? Like Igor was in the original, for instance. Okay. I think the kids are going to be the straight man story, the ones that, you know, aren't necessarily ridiculous humor, perhaps, and that's where the adults are going to come in and sort of, I don't know. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. I won't lie. I'm not feeling bad about the trailer, but at the same time, I'm sort of just confused. It's put me in a weird place. I don't know. How do you feel about it, Jacqui? Did you watch it?
I haven't seen it, no. That's why I'm very quiet. I kind of saw little bits and pieces while scrolling through my feed. So I've seen like chunks of the cast, but I haven't sat down and watched it yet.
Okay, yeah. What do you think, Lucas?
No, I really liked it. I watched it this morning before work, and I kind of like put it on for the missus and didn't tell her what it was. She's a massive Ghostbusters fan. She loves it. And this is another trailer I was talking about where it tells one story in the first 90 seconds and then tells you a second story in the last 60. We watched it in the first 90 seconds. She's like, what is this? Like, she realized it was a Ghostbusters movie until she saw the trap.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, it then kind of like, once you realize it's a Ghostbusters trailer, you're then like, oh shit, I'm in. And then like, they then give you the last 60 seconds of like the Ecto and all the other cool stuff.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Were you waiting for it to go bum bum dun dun dun?
Yep.
I was waiting for the who you're gonna call. I really was.
Yeah.
Like, it may be an updated version, but I was waiting, and it wasn't there. So again, like, this feels, I mean, I know it's set in the Ghostbusters universe, but it feels, just from this trailer, very different to what we're used to.
Yeah. I think the biggest surprise in the trailer, right? So, like, obviously we knew kind of that Finn Wolfhard was going to be in it, and I'd seen other casting and stuff. I don't know how, but the casting of Paul Rudd completely threw me for a loop. I didn't even know he was in it.
Yeah.
And not just that, he's pretty heavily featured. So
yes.
either they're doing like a Jared Leto Joker, where they just kind of have him, you know, in the trailer a lot, and then he's not in the film very much, or he's genuinely like going to be a major part of the film. And
in before he's the villain.
Oh no,
that'd be interesting though, because how many times has he played a villain? Not many.
Yeah, or like even just an asshole. Like, not even a villain, but just someone that's disliked. It's
he was,
hard to dislike that man.
Wasn't he a bit of a prick in that Netflix thing though, with the Skarsgård chap and all the rest of it? And his mate was a pedo and all this sort of stuff. What was that thing called?
Mute?
Was it Mute? Might have been Mute.
Yeah, I didn't watch that. Yeah, Alexander Skarsgård, Paul Rudd, Justin Theroux, Robert Sheenan, Dominic Monaghan.
Yeah, that was the one. Okay. Yeah, you found it. Yeah, Mute. Okay, so yeah, he plays Cactus Bill. Sorry, yeah, well that's why if you haven't seen it. Yeah, he's not a bad dude, but he's rough in that. He's got the porn star here to clean your pool tash and a Hawaiian shirt, and he's not a particularly good guy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely a different part for him.
Yeah, cool. Oh, this is the one this is Duncan Jones, right?
Yeah, directed by Duncan Jones. Yep.
We definitely talked about it. I didn't watch it. I want to watch it though, because this is meant to be a kind of sequel, not really, to Moon.
Yes, it's set in the same universe.
Yeah. Dope. Okay, at least I know what it's called again.
Yeah, it has things on the TV screens in the background featuring old mate from Moon.
Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, he shot a few little scenes for it.
Awesome.
But it got very mixed reviews. And even I think I reviewed it, or we reviewed it. I had trouble with it. It was a bit all over the place. So, but I mean, yeah. Look, it was a Netflix thing, so you can probably you can still watch it. He's not funny though in it. It's not a comedic piece at all.
That's fine.
So anyway, that's the news. Before we jump into our 2019 best TV shows and movies, just quickly, what are we watching at the moment?
I'm still going pretty strong with Letterkenny.
Right. I'm hearing very good things about Watchmen. Apparently, episode 8 was blowing people away.
You may be getting some that show may be mentioned later.
Okay, that's fine. I just finished watching Ad Astra with Brad Pitt.
Did you like it?
I liked most of it. I thought the story was interesting. The psychology that they've put into it was interesting. The lighting, the camera angles was good. The thing that let it down the most, and it was surprising even though they touted that they'd gotten science and space travel correct, was the science and space travel was largely incorrect. There were so many mistakes there, and that really bothered me because when I watch science fiction, I like things like Moon. To me, is spot on. It needs to be hard and real, but realistic science. Inertia dampeners piss me off. Sound in space pisses me off. And for a film that's all about space travel and people living on Moon and the Mars, just some of the things they did just bothered me a bit there. That was my only gripe. But if you're ignorant of that, or you can switch it off, the psychology and the emotion and the camera work were all excellent.
I really enjoyed Ad Astra, but I also really didn't. I thought, looking at it from the way that it was made, the cinematography, like you said, the psychology, I really enjoyed it. But I don't like introspective films, so I didn't enjoy it because I don't like films like that, not because it wasn't well done.
Yeah. I think for some people too, especially people that are maybe estranged with their family, it would sort of make you look inwards and perhaps in uncomfortable places. But yeah, it was good. It was worth the watch. There's also
a scene in there that I thought was completely unnecessary. It was there to kill off a character, and that was it. And I didn't like it. And I think the film's been out long enough that I can safely say space monkeys. And I just didn't enjoy that. I didn't think it was a necessary addition to the film, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, it doesn't. Okay. Yeah, it's dealing with just in terms of a story of A to B, it was a bit of a detour. Yeah, I got that too. And I mean, it was quite a long film. It was about just over 2 hours, so you probably could have trimmed some of the fat. But yeah, the biggest problem for me was just some of the science. You see the Moon, and there's a lot of people living there, and that's fine. But you would not be moving people between Earth and the Moon using rocket ships the way we do today. You just wouldn't do it. Moving the amount of materials that you would need to move up there, the people, the resources, it would just be far too cost inhibitive to do that. You would definitely be using a carbon fiber space elevator. You just would. So that kind of thing bothered me. Also, things like gravity and sure, he's using things like electrical shocks to work his muscles, but you would still have some degree of atrophy. You would still have your bone density fading away from lack of gravity and things like that, the radiation. There's just a lot of shit going on in the background that isn't sort of addressed, but I guess at the same time that might just slow the film down, but at the same time you should be able to put it in the background, so I don't know. people like me, there's not a lot of us, but that shit pisses me off. I also watched Doctor Sleep, which was the sequel to Shining. I don't know if you guys have seen that at all.
Is that good?
I know Ethan said, yeah, I liked it. It's not quite what I expected, but by and large it was, and it was quite enjoyable. It's interesting because it's sort of the first 3/4 of the film are sort of more thriller, and then that last quarter becomes sort of goes back to its roots and becomes more of a horror. It was quite good. It was satisfying. Yeah. And the acting was by and large pretty good, especially the young lass. I think it's her first role. She plays Abra in that. She was quite good. Yeah. So, but yeah, okay. So, what about you, Jacqui? Are you watching some anime at the moment?
I'm currently watching My Hero Academia every week. The one thing I hate about watching a show week by week is that I like to binge watch things. So this is a rare occurrence for me to watch something week by week, but I'm really enjoying it. I've read all the manga, so we're now on a story arc where it starts to get a lot darker. So I'm quite enjoying that because I've been waiting for it for so long. But aside from that, I'm also watching His Dark Materials, which is on Foxtel, I believe. I think is the streaming service I'm watching on, which I'm really enjoying because
really good.
It's so good, and the acting, just everything about it. I just love it.
Master's got it too.
Yeah, like I don't normally watch things week to week, so the week to week wait is slowly eating away at my soul. But I'm really enjoying.
Well, that's good. It's good. All right, and I did ask you, Lucas. Was there anything else you're watching at the moment?
So Letterkenny I think is the main one. Something else I'm going to get into, obviously, in the talk a bit later, is currently we're 2 episodes deep into Crisis on Infinite Earths, the big Arrowverse crossover. I'll be honest, I'm about 5 years behind, but I did some watching on like kind of stuff to catch me up and all that, and the second episode was tonight, so we watched that while we had dinner, and holy shit, like I need to get back into these shows because the character development from the last part I remember to where they are now is insane. Like kind of the growth that they've had, and like I've kind of now got all these spoilers of where everyone is now, and knowing where they were, like it's going to be really interesting to kind of see that evolution. But the second episode of Crisis was tonight, and there was some really cool moments. We're not going to get into because it's super fresh, but the third part is tomorrow night, and then they're on break for like 6 weeks, and then the final 2 parts of the Crisis series will air in 2020. So I'm getting ready to probably bawl my eyes out tomorrow night because some major shit's going to go down.
All right. Well, let's move in then to, because I'm sure we'll get into some discussion here. We'll move into our top 3 movies / TV shows. Well, we're going to do top 3 movies and then top 3 TV shows, not that. And instead of TV shows, Jacqui's going to do anime because she doesn't watch a huge amount of TV shows, but that should give us a good spread. So, who would like to go first? Let Jacqui go first while she's still awake. Ladies go first.
Don't pick on me just because I have a nana bedtime.
Yeah.
So my top 3 movies in
for
no
2019.
particular order.
In no particular order.
2019. No particular order would be Knives Out,
Mm-hmm.
Captain Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
and I still don't know a third. I'm really bad. I think Ad Astra would have to be the third. I may not have liked it because it was introspective, but in terms of the way that it was brought together, the directing, the cinematography, even down to the soundtrack, I thought it was a very, very fleshed out film. Obviously, I'm not as big into science as you are, Toby.
No, I don't expect. Most people won't be. Most people won't be. It's just me.
Past that, but I quite enjoyed it. I thought the acting was really good. I just don't enjoy introspective films for some reason.
Yeah, that's fair. And anime.
Look, I'm biased, so
That's fine.
Obviously My Hero Academia is sitting up there at the moment, but that's always been that way. 7 Deadly Sins, which is the Netflix one, came out with its 3rd season this year. I think it was the 3rd season. And I really, really enjoyed that. As a follow-on, the story is starting for me to get a bit more fleshed out. The characters kind of get more to do and less like single episode storylines. It's now it's expanded a lot more over the season, which I think is enjoyable. And then obviously the last season of Fairy Tale came out, which I was very excited about. It was very fan service, but I thought that they ended it very well.
Do you mean by fan service panties?
No. No. Oh my gosh. Okay.
As someone who doesn't watch anime, that's what I thought fan service meant.
No. So I mean, you know, everyone has their like. In the anime world, there's like ships and characters you want to get together and all of that kind of stuff. It was very fan service. But the way that they ended it to make everyone happy. And
I mean, if you really like looking at panties, that's. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to kink shame. That's fine.
Oh no, it's terrible. Like, okay, the things that I see on the internet for like the characters in My Hero Academia, and I just go, I'm like, they're high school students. This is weird. Like, people are weird, man. I stay well out of that side of the fan.
All right, Lucas, slap me down with your 3 favorite movies.
So, because it's me, I can't narrow 3 down.
We have to.
You have to do it too.
Yeah, you got to do it too.
What I'm going to do like super quick shout outs for some really. It's just been a solid year of film this year. Probably like one of the. I can't believe this didn't make the top 3. Was John Wick, the new John Wick film.
Yeah,
that was excellent.
Yeah, it was good fun.
The fight scenes were fun. The story, like, I genuinely was like...
Fight scenes. You mean the entire movie? The entire movie was a fight scene.
The entire film.
Yes.
But no, like, the story as well, like, was super interesting. Like, it kind of went places I didn't think it would go. Obviously, the way it ended was crazy. Like, I didn't expect the ending coming from a mile off. But no, that was really good. Booksmart, which is basically the female Superbad. That was really awesome. It Chapter 2 was good. Godzilla King of Monsters was good. Detective Pikachu was good.
This is not 3. You're the worst.
That's definitely not 3, but these are definitely the 3. Like, I kind of nailed. I have 3, but it was kind of hard to not mention all those movies because all of them were excellent. But the top 3 is Ready or Not. That was one that I saw a trailer for a little while ago, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Sat down and we watched it, and it is possibly one of the most entertaining horror movies I've seen in a long time. It's definitely worth watching if you're a horror fan or if you're kind of just into these like just weird movies. Second, probably the other film, it goes without saying, Endgame was phenomenal.
Yep. Number 3?
Number 3, Joker.
Yep, okay.
Joker was wild. And I kind of was like, I wasn't expecting, I was expecting it to be good, but I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was.
Yeah. And
yeah, I'm very interested to see, like, if there's rumors of a sequel, whether or not it happens or not, no one knows. But if they do a sequel, I'm very interested to see what they do because the ending is very ambiguous. But yeah,
TV shows.
TV shows again, could nail them down. But quick shout out, Lost in Space season 1. I'm like 2 years too late on that, but season 2 is coming out soon, and I'm really pumped for it now. The Crisis crossover for Arrowverse has been excellent. Wu-Tang, an American Saga, was really awesome. That's the story of the Wu-Tang Clan and how they basically became the Wu-Tang Clan. Some of it's obviously kind of bumped up for a more coherent story. They've kind of changed a few things, but for the most part, it sounds like it was pretty true to life. Can we say Game of Thrones?
You can.
No.
I mean, you can. I'm not going to stop you.
Definitely not.
One of us had to say it.
Yeah, you can say it.
Had to say it. Okay, but top 3.
It was terrible.
Mandalorian has been excellent. How can you not love BY? He's just adorable as shit. Watchmen has been very good.
Mm-hmm.
I am like 2 or 3 episodes behind, but fantastic. It feels very much like a nod to the comics, which I really appreciate. I only found out though today that it's going for 9 episodes. The finale's next week, so I need to catch up.
I've heard rumors that episode 8 is next level.
Huge.
Yeah, huge.
Apparently it's huge. So we'll probably catch up this weekend and then gear up for episode 9 because that's kind of what we do. We kind of like watch the first couple of episodes week to week and then get bored with it and then wait for it to be almost finished and then watch it all the way to the finale. We did that with Westworld. So
Yep.
and then number one, this is a show that I think a lot of people are sleeping on. It's currently 4 seasons deep. The final season is happening right now. It's all on Netflix. The Good Place. If you have not seen that show, watch it. Even if it's not your type of show, watch the entirety of the first season, and I guarantee you'll love it.
It's not my type of show, and I loved it. So you are correct in that statement.
Boom! There we go. There's a ringing endorsement right there. But this final season, we have 5 episodes left. It's currently on break until I think January or February. For those that don't know what it is, or for those that don't know, it's Michael Shaw, who has had a string of hits with The Office, Parks and Rec, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and now this. Kristen Bell's one of the main characters in it. Ted Danson from Cheers and Becca. And then kind of a bunch of like other people who have kind of been scattered through Mike Schur's shows all appear throughout the show in some capacity. So definitely a show I recommend.
Yeah. Well, for myself, my movies, I should mention that I have yet to see The Lighthouse, which I think would have an enormous impact on my list for the year.
Absolutely, I actually agree with you there. Like,
yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've noticed it's number one on a lot of people's lists, and the reviews are exceptional, and I suspected it was going to be. So, anyway,
we've been talking about The Lighthouse for a bit, so I feel like that again. Like, there's a few movies still yet to come out this year. The Lighthouse is one of them, but
Knives Out I haven't seen, but I think is going to be good. And the other one that is coming out this year that I'm interested in is Jumanji Next Level. Obviously, and one it's still technically coming out this year. It's on Boxing Day. We've already got a review up on the site, and that is JoJo's the Taika Waititi one where he plays Hitler. Jojo the Rabbit, isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit. Jojo
Rabbit, yeah. So I haven't seen those, and I would imagine they would impact my list. But my list at the moment, in no particular order, is Avengers Endgame. Even though Infinity War was better. Joker, and my third, which is a little bit out there, is Shazam. I really, really liked Shazam. I thought it was quite good.
It was quite good. It was, I don't know, it was just so different. It was nice.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was going to be funny going in, and it didn't disappoint when I watched it. Especially the scene where they're flying in the sky and the villain's monologuing, and then Shazam's like, "What? I can't hear it.
Far away, I can't hear you."
It's so true.
And it's so genuinely funny too. Like, it's not forced humor. And I think that's why I enjoyed it, because I don't traditionally enjoy comedy of any kind, but I quite enjoyed Shazam.
Yeah, it was funny.
Also, here's some breaking news. This is something we didn't put in the thing. Shazam 2 was confirmed at CCXP.
Oh, excellent. Good.
Yesterday. So they're definitely moving ahead with the second one, which long overdue. Obviously, you got Black Adam coming out. I feel like Shazam. They said that Shazam 2 will be a sequel to Black Adam. So yeah, for sure. Like, there's no doubt that. Even though they teased the worm guy, what's his name? Shit. I can't think of his name, but the worm that is Shazam's one of Shazam's biggest villains. He's like super intelligent. Okay. They teased that at the end of the movie. The Rock has said that once Black Adam has had his film, it's then going to lead into a crossover between Black Adam and Shazam, which to tell Black Adam's story, you need Shazam, and Shazam needs Black Adam. So it's going to be cool. I'm really excited. So.
And my TV shows, again, in no particular order, were The Boys. Although I would say probably The Boys was my number one for 2019. There was just no bad episodes. It was just spot on. It was perfect.
I forgot about The Boys.
The Boys was amazing. Just amazing. Mindhunter season 2 was just as much as good as the first season was. Season 2 just took it to a next level, to the point that it was one of those shows that I watched it and went, shit, I need more now, and started scouring streaming services for anything that was even remotely close to it. So it had a huge impact, and I'm very much looking forward to more of that. And the third one is a TV series, but it was also sort of a movie for TV, a bit of a cheat mini series, I guess. Was the Chernobyl TV show?
That was definitely a TV show.
Yeah, but it was broken into a couple of parts, so I'm going to cheat and slide that into TV shows and not movies and say, yeah. But it was good. It was really good. I mean, performances all around were excellent. And again, going into it, the only gripe I had was I would have liked to have perhaps had more authentic Russian dialogue, I suppose. But apart from that, because it was a bit jarring to see them, they're in Pripyat and they've got these Cockney accents. It was a bit much. But suspending that, beyond that, it was really well done. So, that'd probably be my 3. Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we can throw up a post on the Facebook page and Twitter and see what some people, whether people agree with us, disagree with us. Maybe they've got their own favourites, and no doubt we've forgotten stuff. It's been a long year in that regard. It's been a lot of big releases, as you mentioned. So maybe somebody will post something and we'll go, oh yeah. So
you know what I'm hoping becomes one of my top TV shows for this year? The Witcher. I'm really, really praying that when that comes out on the 20th of December, that it's really...
Yeah. I think a lot of people are. So we're not entirely sure. It's just going to really depend on the Christmas break, the holiday break, on when we get the next episode of the podcast out. So it may be a few weeks before you hear from us again, in which time we were going to have an enormous amount to talk about, because we've got the new Star Wars film coming out next week. We've got Jumanji coming out. We've got The Witcher on Netflix. 'Tis the season, and there's just a bunch of stuff. Obviously JoJo's, heaps and heaps of stuff. You've got your tickets booked for Star Wars already, Lucas?
Midnight boy, Mount Cravat.
Yeah, yep.
Probably should just do that. Midnight, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I think I could manage the midnight if I slept all day on the Wednesday.
I don't think I'll be hitting the cinemas for May. Actually, I might go see Jumanji, but it'll probably be post Christmas.
Well, Jumanji's out on the 26th of
there you go.
December. But I'm just lucky. I'm going this Saturday on the 14th. How exciting for me.
Oh,
I'm really excited for it.
It looks amazing.
I'll throw up a review on the site for sure.
Sweet. Looking forward to it. All right, then. Well, that pretty much wraps up this episode of the podcast. If you don't hear from us again before the end of the year, everyone at Pixel Pop, we hope you have an amazing holiday break and an awesome new year. Hopefully you're spending it with friends and family and having a great time. Thanks for joining us this year. A huge shout out to our Patreon supporters. It really makes a difference and allows us to keep our super fancy SoundCloud account running and web hosting and all the rest of it. We may be back before the end of the year, but if not, we'll see you in the new year. And we'll probably get Ethan to write up a big long list of all the things we should be excited about in 2020. I imagine it'll be a chunky list. But that's it for 2019, I guess. So that's just a trash can. Dun 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 dun. Take it away, Jacqui.
No. You ask me this every time and the answer is always no.